Kingdom Dominion, right? Lesson 1. And there's a reason why I'm talking to you guys, because this is lost, what we're about to discuss. So my title is The Power of Purpose. And the thing about this series, the thing about what we're going to be talking about for 2 or 3 lessons, you know that this is lost because people in the world have these crazy ideas about God, and they have these crazy ideas about the world and how they're supposed to function and what they're supposed to do. And it's because of these wrong concepts of God and how the world operates, it's given the church a bad reputation with the people. It's because of the ideas that have been brought forth and why good things happen to bad people, why bad things happen to good people, why God allows sickness and why he allows diseases on children, and why does God force people to love him, and if you don't love him, you're doomed to some sort of punishment. And why did he even put the tree in the garden to begin with? Why did God tempt them like that? Why not just remove the tree altogether? Why tempt them with sin and these ideas? Thank you, Brother Roger. You could put it right there. This idea, these statements get said. And we've heard these and other types of these statements and comments by the people, by the world, and they don't understand the concept of, well, if God is true, if God is all-powerful, all-knowing, why he allows this and why he allows that. And the Christians, the church, just simply quotes Matthew 5:45, simply says, well, it rains on the just, and that's all we give them. That's the only answer we give them, and that's not really an answer. That doesn't answer their question, but we don't have the answer, so that's what we turn to. We just simply say, well, it rains on the just and the unjust, and it's life. And you can go on Facebook, and you can watch videos of this person and that person, and you have this person trying to disprove the Bible about how this verse doesn't match that verse, and you have these ideas and these things that are off the wall about how they think God should operate and what he should and shouldn't do. And you have people trying to answer that question because no one else has the answer. So they're trying to find the answer to that question. They're trying to look and say, okay, this doesn't make sense. If God is all-loving, if he loves it, why does he allow this? This doesn't make sense. So then that must mean, well, there is no God, because if there was a God that loved us, he wouldn't allow this. And we have these ideas getting tossed. And when someone from the church may have an idea or an answer, they get thrown to the side because of what church and religious people have done in the past. So there's no credibility. When someone may have an answer, there's no credibility to that person because what has happened in the past. Pastor made a comment a couple Sundays ago while he was closing me out. It might have been on a Tuesday night. And he said, the world does not respect the church anymore, and why would they? And it's a sad statement, but it's a truthful statement. And that statement is something that we as the church, we must fix. And we have failed to do so. I have touched on dominion a little bit with some of our previous series, but Sister Susie wanted me to go more in depth about this and strictly focus on this dominion. And this, believe it or not, this series and this one word dominion is truly the answer to one of life's greatest questions, and it's, what is the meaning of life? This question gets asked many different ways. And this series, believe it or not, is going to answer that question everybody seeks. There's a quote from the late Dr. Miles Monroe, and he says this: "The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without a purpose." Many people today are obsessed with finding ways to prolong their life. They are trying to get caught up in how do they live longer instead of considering what they're living for today. And they drift one day to the next day with no purpose, with no ambition of what am I supposed to be doing. And we have all this untapped potential just inside this building. All these unfulfilled dreams and all these unfulfilled visions that have been spoken, and that dying with that vision and dying with not fulfilling a purpose, dying with unfilled dreams is a fate that we don't want to see happen. And when you're not living up to your expectations, sometimes that's worse than just death itself. The rising suicide rate in modern society bears this truth out. We can look at celebrities and see that really money is not the answer to happiness. Because if it was, there would be a lot of problems that were fixed in the celebrity reign. Many people lack hope. They take their own lives because they find death more appealing than continuing to what seems like a meaningless existence. Finding our purpose in life is more important, and it may be the most important thing in your life. Too many people exist but do not live. They go through life living it out, but not doing anything. They exist to pay bills. They exist to make ends meet. They exist to keep the status quo of whatever society says it is at that time. They play it safe, and one of the greatest challenges in life is knowing what to do and never doing it. We get up every day and we go about our daily activities, but we are doing what we're supposed to be doing? We get up, go to work, come home, do whatever it is, but is that truly what you're called to do? And with all of the options that this world gives us, and you have so many choices to choose from, that it's hard to sit down and determine what is my purpose. What am I supposed to be? And sometimes it's a very difficult question to answer even in your own mind, because you have your past and you have your present, you have your future, and you don't know where your life is even at. So it's hard to answer the question, well, what was I truly put here to do? What am I supposed to be doing? What drive gets you out and gets you to do something? What purpose propels us through each day? Are we just living for a paycheck, or are you living for a purpose? And sometimes we mistake the two. One of the greatest mistakes in life is being busy, but not effective. Being busy is a common human pastime because we think if we're busy, we're doing something. But just because you're busy doesn't mean you're doing anything worth doing. Many people deceive themselves into believing that being busy all the time gives their life significance. I'm doing something, I'm busy, I'm actively doing something, but yet nothing ever manifests from their busyness. Significance has nothing to do with busyness, but everything to do with effectiveness. We can look at Jesus and we can see Jesus was the most effective person ever, but he was never busy. Everything Jesus did had a purpose. He knew what he was supposed to do, and he did it. And it made him effective. He wasn't busy just doing things. He was fulfilling his purpose. And it's a tragedy to waste time and energy on unfocused busyness, because those resources, once expanded, can never be regained. Time is the most desperate resource we all have. There is nothing that you can give time and get back. Once that time is gone, it's gone. And we sometimes live life being busy wasting time instead of being effective within our time. The greatest failure in life is not being successful in the wrong assignment. Success alone is not enough. You must succeed in the right thing. I talked about after you've lived your life and you take a step back on what you've created in your life, and you look back and you see the ladder that you've built, and frustration sets in because you see 40, 50, 60 years wasted on the wrong thing. And you realize that's not what I was trying to build at all, and you missed it completely. And you can't gain that time back. So frustration sets in, and a lack of, I wish I would have done this different. I wish I would have known that then. And faithfulness alone is not enough. And because you can be faithful to the wrong faith, you can be faithful to the wrong assignment, you can be faithful to the wrong thing. So faith isn't really the answer, because you can be faithful to a lot of things, but never the right thing. Commitment alone is not enough, because you can be committed to the wrong causes. Succeeding in the wrong assignment is failure in our life. Success in life is the effective use of time. Each of us is the sum total of what we spend our time on. You are where you are at today. You think the way you think because of what you have devoted your time to. The way you invest your time determines the level of your success. Do you waste your time, or do you take what time you have and use it effectively? And we have to pay very close attention to time, because that is the true measure of life. Time is the currency of life. Currency is the medium of exchange used in an economy to purchase goods and services. Just as money is the currency of economy, time is the currency of life. And many of us can look at our today and see things that we wish we would have done differently. And we can look at time spent that we wish we wouldn't have spent that time doing. And how much of our time determines the quality of our life and death. How will people feel when you die? What did you do during your time you are alive? What will people say at your funeral? Will someone even show up at your funeral? What will be said? Will they be sad, or will they be relieved? Time is a precious commodity that we must carefully and wisely invest in. Because time is the currency and a precious commodity, it should come as no surprise to discover that everything and everyone is after our time. Our kids are after our time. Our jobs are after our time. Everything is after your time. Modern life is a constant bombardment of voices, ideas, opinions, causes, and expectations from people to a certain degree of accuracy. And they're all trying to get the attention of your time. You can look at a job. You can look at Brother Dave's job as a sales, and, well, he's got to have time to go collect, but he also has to have time to sell, and weighing out those differences. And there's callings taking his time, and once that time's gone, he can't get it back. And what do I focus on today compared to tomorrow? And you can't give your time or attention to every competing voice in your life. You have to let your priorities help you zero in on what is important in your life. You have to look at your purpose and focus all your time on that purpose. Let the others go. If you do not know what you are supposed to do, you are supposed to go, and how you are going to get there, you are a constant danger of abusing your currency. So if you don't know your purpose, I've said it time and time again, if I don't know the purpose of a thing, I will abuse that thing because I don't know its purpose. And your life is no different. If you abuse the time that you have been given, your life will be in abuse. It will be in chaos because you're focusing on all the wrong things. And it's important to note, good is not always right. Many times we end up abusing our currency because we are distracted by good things that take place of right things. Therefore, by causing us to be busy and not being effective in what we should be doing. Some of our priorities may be good, but they're not correct. It is important to learn the difference between good and right. Time wasted on inaccurate priorities is currency that is gone forever, and it can never be regained. What is life? It's time. We all have a span of time. What is priority? Doing the right thing, the right time, the right way. Priority will protect your life because doing the right thing at the time in the right way keeps us from doing the wrong thing at the wrong time in the wrong way. Priority enables us to spend our days putting first things first. Well, what should I do today? Well, what are your first priorities in your life? Now, movement is not a sign of progress, any more than busyness is not a sign of effectiveness. You could be moving but not being effective. So if I say, look, guys, today after church today, I'm going to go to Springfield, Missouri. I'm going to go to, okay, well, that's 3 hours west of here. So if I go and get in my car and I get on Highway 60 and I go east towards Sykeston and I drive for 3 hours, will I make it to Springfield? I made movement, though, right? I mean, I moved. I made a direction. I moved somewhere. No, I'll be in Illinois. I've made movement, though, but I wasn't effective with where I was going. I did not make any progress towards my destination. Correct priority also protects time. Knowing and doing what is most important helps us avoid abusing time and wasting that currency. In addition to protecting time, correct priority also protects energy. You should not fight every battle. Every battle is not worth your energy. If it has no spoils for your life, don't fight it because it's pointless. You're just going to waste your energy. When our lives are correctly prioritized, we can afford to exert our energy on what truly matters. And we can fight for the thing and be completely effective for the right purpose. One of the most serious consequences of absent priority is it leads to the abuse of gifts and talents. If you use your talent to do something that you're not supposed to do, you have wasted a talent. Even if you use it. You can look at many of the singers that we have, and you can look at a lot of their backgrounds and actually see that they've grown up in the church and that they've had a talent that God gave them for singing, but they're using their talent now, but it's not for the kingdom. And you can even use your talents and gifts for the church, but just because it's good does not mean it's correct. So you can say, well, I use my talents and gifts for the church. That's well and good, but is it your correct assignment? It's good that you're doing it, but is it the correct thing to be doing? Knowing your priorities will help you avoid expanding your talents and gifts on unimportant or unworthy endeavors. Most people today use their gifts and abilities in the pursuit of selfish and worldly goals that have nothing to do with the kingdom. We can use our talents and gifts for church, thinking it's good when it's not, because it's not correct for your purpose. And we expel our energy for things and even people who are just after the fishes and the loaves. But once you know where your priorities are, decision-making becomes easier because you understand where you're at and what you should be doing. When you understand priority, when you understand your purpose, you can begin to say no to some things and yes to other things. You will say, no, that doesn't fit my purpose. Even though it may be right, I have to say no because that's not where I'm going. This gives you confidence to say no to requests, even honorable ones that would distract you from your primary focus. And unless you know the priorities of your life, you have no guidance to help you make the correct choice. Misplaced priorities result in wasting one's life pursuing the wrong thing, carrying out the wrong assignment. People with misplaced priorities may be focused individuals, but they are focused on the wrong thing. A life absent of priorities accomplishes nothing in the end, while a life of misplaced priorities may succeed in many things, but it will not be what was most important. Either way you look at it, it's a failed life. When priority is absent, you become busy with the wrong things. If you don't know what the right things are, you end up focusing on the wrong things. Priority helps sharpen your vision so we can focus on the most important things. And without it, we have no sense of direction, and we will be swayed by the wind of whatever society carries us with. Unless we know what is truly important in our life, if we do not know our purpose, it's impossible for you to invest wisely in what it is. So the end result of absence of priority is wasted resources. The first key to effective is to be sure you are doing the right thing. Then invest your time, attention, energy, and resources in doing it. People with no priority in life forfeit purpose. Everybody has purpose in life. Everybody has a purpose. But sadly, many people never discover what their purpose is. And when they do that, when that time comes and they look back and they realize what a failure their life has been. No matter how successful you are in what you do, if you're not doing it for your purpose, you're failing. Priorities are like the riverbanks that we know about in Ezekiel. They control the flow of life. And without banks in a river, you get a swamp. Priorities are key because they help you set your boundaries. The first family, Adam and Eve, priority was executing rulership, not pursuing resources. Mankind was preoccupied with living life rather than making a living. In the beginning, man's priority was ruling things rather than pursuing things. Man's provision for daily living was inherent in his relationship of obedience and cooperation with the Creator and the fulfillment of his plans for the earth. All human beings are searching for this kind of significance, and their search manifests in many different ways. Many people are looking for the answers to why am I here, what am I supposed to be doing, and believe it or not, all religions attempt to answer that question. Doesn't matter what religion it is, all religions are seeking that one answer. And they're all competing searches. It's not just the Buddhists, it's not just the Hindus and the Muslims and the Christians, but it's every major and minor religion. Even agnostic and atheists are searching for that answer. And that search isn't bad. The search is not bad. That's what's in us. We lost something, and now we're searching for what it is. But that search sometimes becomes the answer you're looking for. And you see it, and you say, I'm going to take this because I think that fills the hole in the gap I'm searching for. So we stop searching for the true answer, and we make ends meet with what we found, and we just say, well, this is what it will be. We set ourselves apart as members of this or that, and we miss the fact that there's more to life. History shows that the value of life decreases, and the quality of existence diminishes with each generation, losing a sense of destiny and purpose. We can look at our society now and see that there is no vision, there is no purpose, there is no destiny. They're lost trying to find themselves. So what do? We create anything we can to make us feel good. We preserve nature, but we kill babies. Our priorities are wrong. We build solid houses, but cannot construct lasting homes because our priorities are wrong. We are smarter people, but we're not wiser. We may be bigger, but we're not stronger. Our priorities have been misplaced. We know more, but understand a whole lot less. We may think we live longer, but enjoy life less fully. We write more books, but fail to take the time to read them. We go faster, but we go nowhere. We conquer space, but we cannot conquer our habits. We protect the whales and abuse our children. We go to the moon, but we wander far from home. And we flirt with fantasy to avoid reality. Our priorities are all out of whack because we don't know our purpose. Too often the church is so busy with their own plans, the church fails to expose God's wisdom in manifesting the kingdom into the world. Many people are so busy building their ministries. They're so busy building their buildings, their programs, their churches, their projects, but they're not fulfilling their purpose. And you have a product. And if you want to know the purpose of a product, you have to go and ask the manufacturer who authorized that product to be made. And the product itself cannot tell you. I can't go to a microphone and say, microphone, I want you to tell me what your purpose is. I can't do that. It's not made for that. That's why most manufacturers put a label on their product, or they give it information in what we call the owner's manual. And the people who made that product want to tell you about the product. That way you know what to expect from the product. So we go to the owner's manual to get the sense of what its purpose is to be. That way we do not abuse what they created it to do. So we go there and we look at, okay, this is what it's supposed to do, and this is how it operates, and this is how we maintain it. You need to change the batteries every 6 months. Okay, if you didn't tell me that, maybe I wouldn't know. So we go and look at the manual and we see, okay, all this information gives us what we're supposed to know about the product. And if the product's going to fulfill our need, we got to know what it was made for. And the manufacturer always wants you to know what they made it for. They want you to be satisfied with their product. So then they give you these books and they give you instructions, big old words. Sometimes it's a circle with an X and say, hey, don't do this. This is bad. You can't do this. You'll abuse our product. You may hurt yourself. And then what does the owner's manual do? At the very back, they have a contact information. Say, hey, if you have any questions about this product, contact us. If the purpose of the manufacturer and the expectation of the purchaser don't match, the product can't satisfy both parties. Purpose dictates performance, which influences satisfaction. So purpose is the key to fulfillment. Your purpose is your key to life. It tells you what you're supposed to do and why you're doing it. It reveals the reasons behind life's experiences and demands, and it supplies a vision for your future. It also provides perspective that gives you a significance, and it gives you meaning from what the world would give you. Apart from purpose, life seems meaning and pointless, and maybe even chaotic if you don't know why you're living and why you're doing it. The events of life become more important than the reasons behind them, and you try to just get past this part just to get to the next part. And you never experience true fulfillment and peace until you are excited for the purpose for which you were born for. To where if you know, okay, I know the reason this happens is for this, I can expect this and be joyful about that because I know what this happens. The purpose of the microphone, right? It's so my voice can be amplified. That way it travels further for you to better understand what I am saying. We get the enjoyment of the praise singers with our microphone. They sing into it so they can create a noise that is fulfilling to our ears. But if we didn't know the purpose of that microphone, we would abuse it. Our lives get abused every day because we do not know our purpose. If you want to build a car, you need to have a purpose for what that car is going to do. You need to know, do you want great gas mileage or do you want to go fast? Those are two different purposes, and depending on where you go with that purpose, it will be determined on what you build that car. If you want to go fast, then you're going to put a nice V12 engine in it. You're going to design the transmission a specific way. You're going to do certain things. But doing that, you can expect that you're not going to get great gas mileage. But if you want a car that gets great gas mileage, you're not putting a V12 in it. You're going to put a 4-cylinder in it, and you're going to try and make it to where that gives you the best miles per gallon. You're not going to expect to go 320 miles an hour in it. You're putting a demand upon that product that you did not build it to do. You're putting a demand on the fast car. If you want it to get good gas mileage, you will abuse the car because you are expecting it to perform in a way it was never meant to perform. And disappointment will set in. So you need to understand the purpose, because that purpose produces the design and predicts the potential upon that product. From looking at the car's design, you can predict what it's capable of doing. So purpose is an indication of potential. You know, if this is your purpose, you know what potential you have. If you build the fast car, you can expect the potential of it to go vroom, vroom. The minute you know that the car was meant for speed, you can expect it to go fast. You aren't disappointed when you don't go fast. Therefore, whatever you are born to do, whatever God purposed your life to be, you are equipped with the ability already, with your talents, your gifts, your capabilities. Your potential is already inside of you waiting to be fulfilled. Because God had a purpose for your life. He put what you were destined to be inside you. Purpose also precedes the destination. Your purpose, your destination will never come before your purpose. Purpose will always come first. It is essential to note that the production of the product does not begin until the purpose for the product has been established. And the success of the project is not determined until the product does exactly what its purpose was required. If we build the car and it doesn't do what we expected, it's a failure. Thus, all things begin and end with purpose. You don't design the car first. You don't build a car first and then tell it what it's going to do because you don't know what you're building. Brother Dave, you can come and play softly for us. The power of purpose. What is my purpose? What am I here for? Why did God create me like He did? Why did He wire me the way He wired me? Why do I have this gift? Why do I have this talent? What gifts do I even have? What talents do I even have? It's questions like these that it's critical that we take an accurate self-assessment of our life, of our true identity. Because if you do not understand the things God has placed in your life and understand your purpose, frustration is bound to set in. We have people upset at God because they feel one way about what He should and shouldn't do. And we have a world that doesn't understand why things happen the way they do. And we have no understanding of purpose. We have no understanding of dominion. We have all these questions that get asked and no one has an answer. And you in your life, you have two main purposes. Two main purposes. The first purpose will never change. Your first purpose is never going to change. Your second purpose will change. It will change depending on how old you get, depending on the season you're in. It will determine on what you're going through. Your second purpose will change. It changes with your ministry. It changes with family. It changes with career. It's changing depending on the season of life you're in. And we're not going to cover the second purpose because I can't tell you what that is. That second purpose is what you have to find about you. We're going to talk about the first purpose in this series. That's the one that we're going to cover because our first purpose is the same for everybody. Your first purpose is what people are longing for an answer for. Your first purpose is what the world's confused about. Your first purpose is why all those questions get asked on why does God allow this? Why does He allow that? Why am I going through this and why am I going through that? Your first purpose answers that question. And believe it or not, we've already talked about it. We've already talked about what our first purpose is. And your first purpose is God's original idea. God's original idea is dominion. See, because when you understand dominion, those other answers, those other questions get answered. Because you understand that it's not God on the throne as a bully with a magnifying glass upon His ants shining it on us. When you understand dominion, when you understand the original purpose, the original idea God had for mankind, your first purpose can be understood. Your first purpose is dominion.